everyone. Welcome to, okay.
Did we all forget how to do a podcast?
Yep.
The last few episodes have been so traumatic that I literally this morning woke up at 6 and was like, I might as well just fucking start this day because I know we're just doomed.
We've got PTSD.
Yeah, we have serious PTSD from the last 2 episodes.
We do, but we think we figured it out. So welcome to our podcast. This is Resolved Mysteries.
Hi.
That's Alison.
Hi.
That's Karlin. And I'm Eliza. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. This is a show where we rewatch episodes of Unsolved Mysteries, which we're doing on Amazon Prime. We each take a case or two and research them to tell the stories in more depth and provide updates. Our episodes follow along and correspond with the episode numbers, so it's easy to know which ones to watch before you listen or after you listen. So this is episode 10. To see photos we reference in the episode, follow us on Instagram at @re_solvedmysteries. You can follow us on Facebook at Resolve the Pod and on Twitter at Resolve the Pod. And you can contact us at resolvedmysteriespodcast.com. If you like us, please rate and review us on iTunes. This month, for every review we receive, we're going to donate $1 to end the backlog.
Yes.
So like we were saying, we are dealing with our soundboard. We're dealing with our mics. We're all just learning. We don't have an official producer like some fancies.
We do not.
Yeah.
I mean, we
fancy.
do, but it's one of us, and it's all of us, and we don't know.
It's
We
like
don't do
one
this
and a
for a
half
living.
of us. Yeah. And nobody does this for a living. There are some podcasters who are former musicians who know what a mixing board does, and we just sort of jumped into this, and it worked for a while. But now I guess we're going through puberty, and we've got some zits, and that was episode 8 and 9. But hopefully we come out
We're moving
beautiful
past
swans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for bearing with the last 2 episodes. And here's to a great episode that sounds awesome.
And our first of 2019. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, we just lit our Saint Stat candle, and we're hoping for the best.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be the year of Resolved Mysteries.
Woo! Do we have an announcement of our first contest?
We do. So a couple weeks ago, or a couple episodes ago, I don't even know what episode that was, I created a contest of school pictures, and I asked you guys to post your most awkward school pictures. At first, nobody participated, and I was super, super sad about it, but I was playing it real cool, like I didn't care, but I did very much care. And then slowly but surely, people started posting their photos, and it was a lot of fun to see you guys at your various awkward stages. Everyone was truly awkward and truly adorable, but the winner of the contest is one Katie Cahill. Her photo has everything, and we're going to post it with the episode photos on Instagram. It's got bangs. It's got glasses. It's got a ruffly plaid shirt.
It's got a little bit of a mullet.
It's got a little
Yes.
bit of a mullet. I mean, the funny thing is that she's still so stinking cute.
She's adorable.
She looks like she could be a cast member of Annie. Like, she's so fucking cute.
Yes,
I can't.
And the glasses are
I know.
prime.
So, we had a lot of really good photos given to us. We even had like a brother sister, right?
Yes. So cute.
Yeah, true sweeties. But we had to go by, the definition of awkward, which is just like, Katie hit all those marks. Congratulations, girl. And just so you guys know, don't worry, Katie is gorgeous. And she grew up to be a beautiful woman. But 4th grade was a little rough for her.
And she'll be rocking a tote.
Mm-hmm. She's going to be rocking a tote. And if I ever get around to making those buttons, she's going to get a button too,
Yeah,
honey.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She'll get the first
honey.
button I ever made for this. So congratulations, I guess, Katie. And thanks for everybody who participated in it. It was really nice to not be twisting in the wind with my Beetlejuice outfit.
Yes. And we'll find a way to post all the photos together so you guys can see them all.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing more contests in the future because I think they're really fun.
Yeah. Now we come to a segment we like to call
You
done fucked up.
Oh, this is me talking again.
Sorry.
Yeah. So way back when, once upon a time, I went off on a huge tangent to educate you all about the Alford plea. Here's the thing about me, though. I talk with authority, but I don't know a lot, and then I just make stuff up.
That is actually not true. She does
No.
know a lot.
Okay,
She
but
does, and she also knows when she's not fully accurate on every detail.
that's true. I did say at least 3 or 4 times, I think I'm totally wrong, but I didn't stop talking.
Yes.
Yes, which is sort of my MO, I think. I prefaced it by saying, I'm totally off base here, but I'm still going to say this anyway.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I hope so. You're like my best friends. So. But so somebody wrote into us, and she was so sweet. She said that she loved the podcast, then basically went on to say that we as a group, but me, because I was the one that wouldn't stop talking, were way off base. And I think Karlin has the comment.
Yes. So the comment was on Instagram from Britt Sullivan Younts, and it says, "Love the podcast, but tons of stuff on the Alford plea were incorrect.
What?
The West Memphis Three did not have to say they were guilty of the crime. It is a technicality that they must admit there was enough evidence to convict to avoid future lawsuits and litigation from the three, because they could have bankrupted the entire state with their lawsuits. Love you guys."
I mean, to be honest, I don't know a lot. This is embarrassing. Allison knows this, but I don't know a lot about the West Memphis Three. But you weren't that far off base. It's kind of what you were saying.
Yeah,
I get what it actually is,
Yeah.
but it's.
So I assumed that they had to say that they were guilty just because Jason, one of the 3, was so adamant against taking the Alford plea. But it is just a really convoluted way to not get sued, I think. Mm-hmm. And she's right. Like, if you think about Stephen Avery, when he won that $30 million lawsuit, it would have bankrupted the whole town. Mm-hmm. So I could see that.
And for the person who, if you are innocent, basically to you, I feel like it's the same thing as saying I'm guilty.
Yeah.
To admit there is enough evidence against me. Like,
Yeah.
to
It's
someone
not a
who's
technical
innocent,
admission of
it's
guilt, but-
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're
to them.
totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for
Yes.
writing in and educating us. I think it's so cool that Britt was really nice, and she wasn't just like, "You're stupid. This is what an Alford plea is," and goodbye.
Yeah.
So
I
if
like to learn things.
if any of you guys want to leave us comments about things that I probably talked a lot of shit about without knowing much about, please do, because we like to learn new stuff.
All right, episode 10. What do we have this episode? Allison,
am
you
I
start?
fucking talking again?
You're going first, girl. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. The segment that I'm covering is a wanted segment. It's Ann Sigmin and Garey Goff. They're wanted in the murder of Charlie Sigmin. It's very scandalous. It's one of the most scandalous.
It's got some sexy imagery in there.
It does.
Yeah, they really leaned into that.
My segment is The Unexplained Missing Time, which is about aliens.
Nice.
You are such a good whistler.
And mine is a missing persons segment about a man named Rogist Kane. And as usual, it's the saddest for
I like
last.
to bring it down at the end.
Oh, man. We were doing so good, and then we fucked up the sound. Like the last 2 were like, oh no, not the last 2. The last one was super good and funny at the end. But also, I would like to say that this episode has all of the things that we love about UM. It's got Satanism.
Yep.
It's got aliens.
Check.
And it's got amnesia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's sort of like a UM triple threat.
And this is our first alien segment, yeah?
Yes, it is.
All right.
I wish it was going to be the only one, but it's not.
No.
Oh no,
course
there
not.
are so many.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's get started.
All right. We are recording.
Okay. So, I'm going to try to go in order, but this is one of those segments where everything kind of devolves into rumor and conjecture. So, I'm going to make the best of it. It's the type of segment that drives me crazy. So, 1986, Charlie and Ann Sigmin, I believe, married. The show calls her Ann throughout the entire segment. They never call her Ann Sigmin. They never call her Ann, whatever her maiden name was.
Yeah.
They just call her Ann, which is super weird because they say Charlie Sigmin every time. I wonder if his relatives were like, well, don't call her Ann Sigmin. We hate her. I don't know. So I believe they married in 86, and she had 2 sons from previous marriages or previous relationships. And he loved them a lot, and he bought them a farm and named it CNA, which I watched the show with subtitles, and it didn't look right. It looked like CNAS.
Yes.
And I was like, that's so
So did I.
Yeah.
The subtitles suck sometimes. Also, they called it a truck farm.
Oh, right. Because in the comments, someone was like, I want a truck farm.
Yeah,
Just like a dirt farm.
Is a truck farm like...
I don't know. I
Like
honestly
the
don't know.
Averys?
I didn't look that up.
It showed them with like produce and stuff. So.
Oh.
Yeah, so like here's the deal.
man.
I basically forgot everything that was said when I got to that reenactment.
Yeah.
So-
you've blacked all this out.
I kind of just like my mind was so blown by that reenactment that all of this information might be wrong. However, they're alluding that something happened to Charlie. Oh,
Sorry, a truck farm is a farm that produces vegetables for the market.
fucking call it. Just call it a fucking farm.
It must be like you truck it away for the
Yeah.
farmers markets or whatever.
Okay.
Interesting.
I just wanted to know. Sorry.
Okay, but if you're
I know.
Yeah.
I agree.
okay. So anyway, they out of the gate are alluding that something bad happened because they cut to Benita Sigmin, who is Charlie's mother. And she says that Charlie and Ann were connected by their love for the 2 boys and that the boys loved Charlie. But she sees now that Ann was, quote, feather in her nest.
What does that mean?
Oh, I looked it up because I was
Okay,
like,
cool, because I wrote down what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like fluffing.
it means 2 things. One is to furnish and beautify one's own residence, but that is not what Benita meant. Benita meant to enrich oneself by using one's influence or position or with other people's money.
Oh.
Did he have a lot of money?
I mean, he had a truck farm.
How can you not be rolling in it?
So I think Benita was basically like, this woman, like, took advantage of my son. So Joe Englehart, Charlie's best friend, who I could find nothing about, tells us that there's just something that he's never been able to put his finger on, but she just didn't seem like Charlie's type, ever. Is it because she's hot as fuck? Are you serious?
Oh my gosh, she is.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of a word that's not.
derogatory
Yeah.
towards women. I don't bangable, super bangable. I don't know.
I was gonna say a dime. I don't know if we say that
Ooh, a little
anymore.
dime.
Ooh, I love that. That's cute. Let's bring that back.
Okay, she's a dime.
She's a dime. Also, she's at the beach at some point just so they could get that reenactor in a bathing suit. And
the sexiest walk I've ever seen on the beach.
also,
too.
that bathing suit is not flattering. If any one of us wore that bathing suit,
The one with the stripes?
yes.
I literally wrote that it was cute.
It's adorable. I meant she looked great in it, but if any of us tried to wear
Oh,
it, we
yeah.
would look like a fucking
Yes.
hamburglar.
You can't wear stripes.
Oh my God, she wears horizontal stripes and a high cut bikini bottom bathing
No.
suit. She's a fucking gorgeous creature. I love her so.
She's a babe.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know why I couldn't put my finger on it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I can.
I
put
can.
my finger on
I'll
that.
put my finger all over that. Fuck. So, summer of 1986, Charlie begins to think Ann is seeing another man. He said he's been watching her and that she disappeared one night and then came back. And then he woke up another night and she was gone. He thought she had taken off again, so he got up, put his clothes on, and she wasn't in the house. Charlie goes into what Joe calls the refrigerator, which in the reenactment just looks like a fucking shed.
Oh yeah, where they keep their produce.
Yeah, Charlie opens the door, and oh my God, you guys, I think that this is peak reenactment.
We
by-
will post like this actual video.
I
We
mean,
have to.
we have to. It is so batshit insane.
Okay, but halt. What did you guys think he was going to find in there?
I thought he was
'Cause
going to
I
find
was
her
like,
dead because I
yes.
was unclear about
I was
who had died at the
100%
beginning.
Yes, I was like, she is murdered in there and her guts are everywhere. And nope. That's not what he found.
No. Here's what he did find. Charlie sees Anne in a negligee sitting on the floor, surrounded by candles, praying to a poster of, I guess, like a goat head demon
With
giant tits.
giant.
Like the goat head tits are so much bigger than my tits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So much
I
better.
know.
I was too sleepy when I watched this.
Oh my God. And also, it looks like a drawing that like a high school metalhead kid would have drawn like on the
Yes.
back of his notebook.
That I do
Totally.
I
remember.
feel like that's a 13-year-old boy would be like, I got the boobs wrong because like he's
They're
never
not
actually
perfect circles.
Yeah, he's never actually seen boobs. So he finds this scene, this amazing scene. Oh my God.
But his friend is describing it.
Yes, Joe is describing it. So here is the thing about this story. Everything is hearsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie does not speak at all.
Yeah. And he described her as half naked.
Yeah. Half naked and worshiping, presumably, goat head Satan. Oh, and then in the picture, there's like this weird spiral thing like coming up from like his waist, and I'm wondering if that's supposed to be his dick. Well, I don't know. But we're gonna post
gotta
it.
zoom in
I
on that.
can't without looking at it.
Don't
I
worry.
don't know.
The images I sent you guys, I cleaned them up a little bit.
Oh, did you blur him out?
No, I didn't put a dick in there or anything, but like it's cleaned up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, what is that thing? It's
Oh no. Wait, to me it looks like
what does it look like?
to me it looks like a DNA dick. Like a
Like a double helix dick,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like
Oh,
a
you
two,
know those.
like a two dicked in twine dick.
Yes.
All right, see, it does.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Did you guys hear about the guy on Craigslist who posted that he wanted someone to cut off his penis and they would eat it together? And and someone did it with him, and that guy died.
That's a classic story.
Me? No. Allie. Oh yeah. I know that one.
I've heard that story like 7 times.
Maybe it's a what's it
Urban
called?
legend.
But
No, it's a thing that happened.
and the
I
guy
have
because the
never
guy
heard
might
of
get
that.
like or is getting tried for murder because he did
Because
it.
the guy bled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But he did eat his dick. Well, I don't think he ate it. He said it was too chewy. Okay, so anyway, back to my story.
Sorry.
Please cut that out.
No, I like it.
Okay, so Anne is chanting in a language that Charlie doesn't understand, that I don't understand. It sounds like a lot of gobbledygook or whatever. But one word I obviously heard was the word coagula.
Yes. Same.
Really?
Why? Was that the only thing in there that you're like,
I don't know, because it's defined as a congealed mass.
Ew, yeah, like coagulated blood.
Yeah, so like yum to that. I thought it was weird that the only word that you could hear was coagula.
yeah, I thought that was really weird too.
But that must be her just making stuff up because they don't know what she was really saying. So Unsolved Mysteries was probably like,
absolutely.
speak gibberish, and she said
We don't
coagula.
even know if
Most of
this
the time.
really happened.
Yes, most of the time the reenactments are remember the boys at the Magic Rock?
Okay. So yeah, I heard I was like, did they say like just use a bunch of gobbledygook words but make sure you say coagula?
Yeah, right.
Like that's super gross.
Or did that just happen to come out?
Yeah, maybe she was method. I don't know. So Charlie's friend said they had a confrontation. And again, this whole tale of negligees and candles and big-breasted goat head men with maybe or maybe not dicks. This is all coming from Charlie's friend Joe. Charlie's friend said that then they had a confrontation, and I bet they fucking did. Like, if your husband walked in on you. Yeah, so Charlie said that they had a confrontation, but then he didn't go any further. And I'm like, men. Because, a woman would have been like, okay, well, what the fuck happened in the confrontation?
Yes.
What was said? Are you guys okay?
And he's just like, oh, okay.
He's like, oh, man, that sucks that
Yeah.
you found your wife like that. That's crazy. And then Benita, Charlie's mother, said that Charlie wouldn't give her any of the hot deets, which I can imagine because, what son would be like, so there she was, naked, with a goat head.
Yeah, he said he's not even going to tell her how she was dressed.
But he did say she does not worship God. Then it cuts to this, adorable little yarn doll that Charlie found in the bedroom 3 weeks before. And it's a little creepy, but it's like mostly cute. Like its head's creepy,
Yeah.
but his body's fine. So
Yeah,
it's
like
a little...
my kid would play with that.
Well,
Got a
just
sad frown.
Yeah, but from the... I thought that was a mustache.
Oh, I thought that was a sad frown.
Oh, well, I could see it being a sad frown if you're getting pins stuck in you. What blew me away was the red bow tie. I really appreciated that. And the googly eyes.
It's a fancy.
Because if you're going to make a fucking voodoo doll,
He's a voodoo dandy.
he's a voodoo dandy.
Yes, it's googly eyes.
It's the least
But
threatening.
Is that the
fucking-
actual doll? Is that Unsolved
No,
Mysteries
probably
being
not.
like, this is what I think a voodoo doll would look like? Like, who knows?
Did they have a fact checker on staff just to be like, hey, real quick, can you go to an encyclopedia and look up what a voodoo doll is supposed to look like?
No, they
Because
didn't.
I just feel like if I woke up and that thing was on my pillow with a pin in it,
In the heart.
I would return it to my grandma and be like, you lost your fucking pincushion.
Oops.
Because I don't wear a red bow tie. Charlie says that happened 3 weeks ago. So if I woke up and my partner had left a voodoo doll, quote unquote, made of yarn and googly eyes on my pillow with a needle in it, I would, of course, laugh and laugh and laugh.
Yes.
And then she said to Charlie, this is what my religion uses. This is what I use in my witchcraft. He must have been like, okay.
Yeah. Why didn't he
Because-
question her further?
3 weeks later, he walks in on her, and I mean, obviously, it's a very different scenario. But she said that she was into witchcraft,
Yeah.
and he seemed okay with it. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
I like that she's like, I've really got to tell him what I'm into. I'm going to drop a subtle hint. What can I do? Oh, here's a voodoo doll by
She's
his
like,
face.
where's
On
that
his
doll with the bow
pillow.
tie? Charlie tells his mom that they, which I guess witches, I don't know who they are, use that doll in their worship. Charlie told Ann to get the fuck out, and she moved to nearby Caruthersville, Missouri to live with Garey Goff, a truck driver and a presumably more religiously tolerant man.
Goff had also been a policeman.
Yeah. And they didn't say he was just a retired policeman, which they could have easily cleared up. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a former policeman.
Right, it's not
he
like
was
he was-
retired.
yeah.
And by using that language, I feel like they were trying to make it seem a little bit more scandalous or a little bit more mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
He was just a retired policeman.
Also, with his picture, really is the only picture they could find a mugshot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's standing against an inches
It's a
board.
mugshot. It was after his arrest.
Yeah.
So this is like a police officer who lived a life. That's the other thing about like some of
Yeah.
these things is the only picture, I could only find one picture of Charlie Sigmin.
Yep.
One picture. It's the same fucking picture everywhere. So it is a little weird that she just jumped in her truck and went right over to Gary's house. I mean, she was probably seeing someone else. Like
Him.
they say that Charlie suspected she was seeing someone else, and then they go right into the devil worship portion, implying that maybe she wasn't, maybe she was just seeing the devil.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
see.
So like
Yeah.
maybe her sneaking out was just all about devil worship. It was probably about seeing Garey Goff.
Yeah.
You know. Garey Goff, I guess, is a little bit more religiously tolerant. And like, I'm kidding, because she's so hot. I mean, who wouldn't let her move in?
You can
you
say
know?
no to a hot witch.
I was surprised at Charlie's not accepting of her in that sexy lingerie.
I would have been like, do whatever you want in this barn. Just come find me later, okay?
Yeah.
Hi. I know.
Runs and tells his mom immediately, my wife doesn't worship God.
Stack says that ironically, Charlie and Garey used to know each other since childhood. I'm still fuzzy on the definition of ironic because I was a fan of Alanis in high school. I don't think that's irony, though. I think it's coincidence. Like, I don't even know if it's a coincidence. Because once I started looking these people up, they're all related. So Charlie became depressed. He missed his wife and 2 boys. He spoke to Ann occasionally. I don't know where this information is coming from. So I don't know who told you, Em, that he spoke to Ann occasionally. But then Garey started threatening him. And speaking to Ann occasionally can either mean you're calling her up and calling her a fucking bitch and saying that you hate her.
Right.
Or that you just are like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, oh, it's going fine.
How are the kids?
Yeah, exactly. So Garey called him and threatened him, but we don't know what the context of the phone calls were. On the night of October 20th, 1986, Charlie was with an old friend who remains anonymous because she's fearing publicity.
I was very confused about the Jane Doe situation.
Yeah, so I think she's scared because Satanism. Or because...
well, what we'll find out that at this time, they were missing.
Yeah.
So
and
she didn't want to.
he's a former policeman. There's a lot of things you don't want to fuck around with there. And you're right. They were missing. So, like, maybe she thought there would be retribution.
Yeah.
And it is clear that she's very upset and she's very scared. Like, when they're interviewing her.
She's, like, sobbing.
She's really upset. So she tells us that Anne, that Charlie got a phone call when they were hanging out. Charlie hadn't been drinking. And that Anne had said on the phone that the two boys were, quote, crying after him, which I guess means like they wanted to see him. And she was threatening suicide. So he said to his friend that he had to go up there and see what was happening. And as she's saying this, her voice is cracking and she's like sobbing. And I feel really bad for her because it seems like she was really frightened. She said that Charlie even said to her, I could be getting set up here, which is so fucking crazy to like.
Yeah, that's.
To know that you might be getting set up, but to still like at least love those kids enough to be like, well, I don't want their mom to kill herself in front of them. You know, like I have a feeling it was just all about those kids for him. You know, like he just loved those boys, and you know, she used every manipulative like X thing in the book, like. You know, guilting him about the boys, threatening suicide, the whole nine. So, like, I just can't imagine being like, I'm probably going to get shot or beat up, but I need to make sure that these boys are okay. So, Charlie's friend said that Charlie was sober and thought of taking a pistol along, but reconsidered. And I am like, take the fucking gun, Charlie. I mean, just take your gun, especially if you think you're going to get set up, you know?
Yeah.
Go figure, 3:20 a.m. that night. And in a beautiful, I mean, this woman should have won an Emmy for reenactment. She comes flying into the police station. She's like bouncing off the walls. She's like, Charlie's been shot. Oh my God, the drama.
Like, where's the phone?
I know.
Yeah.
Like, what's
why
closer?
did she make a personal visit?
Pick up the fucking
I
phone.
didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, well, you gave Garey time to create a tale. Or, you know, you gave Garey time. That gave Garey time.
That makes sense.
So she's like, I drove right to the police station, but it's like, well, you could have fucking called and they would have gotten there faster, probably. So she said that Charlie had been shot at Garey Goff's house, and Patrolman Garey, so this is another Garey Hilburn of the Carruthersville Police Department, tells us that the house was torn apart and there was a very bad struggle there. Blood all over the doors, walls, a couple of bullet holes in the walls of the door. I know.
I'm sorry, but that sentence he said, I rewound 3 times because I was like, what the fuck are you trying to say?
Did
and
you,
even
though?
You just saying it now was also stupid.
Yeah. Well, also when he said door, he said, and the bullet in the door. So I guess he was referring to like another conversation he had that they had cut. But in the subtitles, it says unintelligible.
Oh, mine didn't say that.
He's like, there's bolts in the windows, and there's 7 bullets in the blah, 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 and then and then
Oh, mine says there was blood all over the doors and the walls, and there was a couple of bullet holes in the walls and one in the door I mentioned.
yeah, that's exactly what this
Door
statement
and
is.
wall, door and wall.
Okay, so I don't know anything about this guy except because I was so distracted by what a fucking stereotype he was. Like, he's like Gomer fucking Pyle.
know.
He's like, I mean, I'm sure Garey Hilburn of the Carruthersville Police Department is a great person, but good Lord, like dial back the good old boy aspect.
There's a donut popping out of your pocket.
Oh my
Like,
God. He's like, there's a bullet here, there's a bullet there, 7 bullets everywhere in the body, blah, blah, blah. Like, God damn, what are you? Shush.
I
Like,
know.
focus. So he says that there were 7 bullet wounds in the body. Is that a lot? Because it seems like a lot, but I don't know how many bullets it takes to kill somebody. And then, like, Gomer Pyle goes through the list of places he was shot. He's like, in the neck, in the leg,
crazy.
in the this, and the that.
And the groin or something.
Yes, he was shot in the dick.
scrotum.
That's terrible. Yeah, but the
Not the dick, the scrotum. Get it right.
so the bullet in the neck is the one that killed him. I was also wondering, I feel like if this was like an episode of Forensic Files or something, they would have done the thing where like they had like all the strings coming towards like the reenactment body so you could see how he was moving, which I'm sure they didn't have in 86, especially in a small town like this. But I think it would have been really easy to tell whether or not it was self-defense. Also, if it's self-defense, I don't think that you need to be shot 7 times by 2 different guns.
No.
Because there were 2 guns involved. That's insane.
2 guns and
Go on.
an iron.
Right. The bloody iron.
Yeah.
Bigger blood budget, baby.
I audibly, when they showed just the bloody iron, I was like, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really bloody and
I
gross.
feel like-
Need that? Was that necessary?
Yeah. So apparently what happened is they found a bloody iron in the trash, which, I mean, if Garey was cleaning while she was running to the police department, he did not do a very good job.
No.
He's like, where do I put this iron? What about the trash?
They'll never look
They'll never
there.
look there. Like, are you fucking serious? Also, the guns were both out, which is fine because he was shot by 2 different guns, so they're going to be looking for
Right.
2 different guns. There was a pistol on top of the television, and then there was a .32 revolver. 2 of the bullets were from the .25 pistol. The other 5 were from the .32 revolver. So basically, the story is that Charlie was wasted and very aggressive. He pushed himself into the house. Did you see that screen door? Because that was super funny. The screen door was like made of paper. Charlie was like, and he like walked right in.
He forced his way through the
Literally,
tissue paper.
I think we have the same screen door because like our screen door, you're like, and it's like, ew. Yeah. So
Fine, I'll open it.
yeah.
Right.
Oh God, you got me. You know. So Charlie pushed his way in, and he started apparently beating on Ann.
No, he didn't. I'm sorry.
No.
I-
I know. Where are her wounds? Oh, I guess. Well, yeah, because they did see her.
Yeah, the
No.
bitch went running into
No.
the police department immediately after, apparently.
No.
And
He
I think,
loved her children. He's not going to brutally beat the mother of the children.
especially
he
because
loves.
he's coming to supposedly stop her suicide.
and the kids,
Right.
are,
And
the kids
and
are in the
kids
house.
Are in the house.
Yes, stop.
Yeah.
No.
But we don't know if the kids are in the house. Again,
Oh,
we
that's
don't
true.
know
Yeah.
we don't know anything. So all of this, what we're doing right now is we're just telling a story.
Yep.
Apparently, Charlie gets in the house, starts brutally beating Ann, and then Garey comes, hits him with an iron, which I guess isn't enough, shoots him 5 times with one gun, which I guess still isn't enough, and then shoots him 2 more times with another gun in self-defense. I mean, really? Like,
He's got to pick up another one. Well, I guess maybe it only holds 5 bullets. The
yeah,
one.
but like, didn't the one through his
Right.
scrotum bring him down?
Anything.
Didn't that iron was
You'd
covered in blood?
He's
I mean,
not Maeve in Westworld.
Yes.
Seriously.
I loved that. I was gonna say Wolverine, but Maeve in Westworld so much better. Yeah, like it's just such overkill.
Yeah.
And then when they're interviewing Ann, she admits that she handled the gun because she gave it to Garey. So Garey said he struggled with Charlie, hitting him with the iron, firing all 7 of the shots. Ann corroborated Garey's testimony, but also said that she handed Garey the .25 caliber pistol. Ann claimed that Charlie had arrived in a drunken rage. I guess Ann didn't know that Charlie was hanging out with someone who would totally fucking be like, this person was sober.
Yes.
And if he left the house and he went right there, like, he would still be sober.
Yeah.
So,
That's
like,
a good point.
I'm interested to know, like, was there a gap of time? Like, did Charlie leave there, go get drunk, and then go beat up Ann if he was so worried about Ann killing herself? Like,
Absolutely not.
again, no.
And also,
Go ahead.
they didn't do a blood test.
No, they did not do anything.
So, fuck everyone. You
So, yeah,
cannot
they-
say that.
They
Yeah.
didn't do a blood test on Charlie to see how much alcohol was in his system, which
no.
is so annoying.
Police tested to see if Ann had fired the gun. It was inconclusive. So Gomer Pyle and his fucking team of super great crime fighting whatevers didn't do a blood test. Oops. Ann's test was inconclusive. Oops. Gomer believes that it had to have been self-defense because there was such a struggle. And then Gomer says Garey wouldn't kill somebody, implying that Gomer knows Garey because they're both fucking police officers. Come on. Like, really? Small
It's
town.
maddening.
Yeah.
And maddening that he has the gall to get on this show.
Yes.
And he says it probably 4 times it was self-defense. He doesn't just say it
No.
once. He is so sure. And
He's
he
like,
makes
I
himself
believe
look
And then
like
he
an
goes to the
idiot.
prosecutor and he's like, I mean, well, all I could say was that it was self-defense, but we would continue investigating. Like, you're not going to continue
Yeah,
investigating.
no.
Your mind is clearly made up. I guess because he said he would have to do more investigation, this other police department comes into play, and Chief Deputy Jack Davis picks up the case and starts surveilling them. Anne had told one of her friends that she had reasons for wanting Charlie dead. They didn't elaborate. They wired the friend.
Oh, she's a queen. She's like, I'm going to snitch on this bitch right
Absolutely.
away.
God, I know, right?
Which you'd think it was a close friend if she told her that
Exactly.
stuff.
I know. Oh my God. Like, could you imagine, like, if you came to pick me up and I was like, hey girl, what's up? What about that Charlie thing? Is he like super dead? Did you kill him?
Yeah.
Like, who would do that?
God, I know.
And then if you were
in
like,
passing,
yeah,
you
girl,
said-
don't tell anybody though,
Yeah.
okay? Like,
Thanks for asking.
thanks for asking. It has been a rough week, bitch. Let me tell you.
You're so supportive.
Oh my God. You're a true sister and I love you so much because we fucking killed Charlie. But like,
Yeah. Yes.
anytime somebody's wired in one of these shows, I'm always envisioning the scenario and it's like, how does this organically come up?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just to clarify,
Hey, girl, hey.
in the episode they say that Sigmund tells her not to go to the police and allow her and Goff time to leave town.
Yes.
So she's asking her, please don't.
Yeah. So it's like, she's like, well, because her friend's like, I have to go to the police. Like, this is fucked. You guys killed Charlie. And she's like, honey, don't go today. Just like go tomorrow. Give me a minute. And then they follow it up with, they lost her. Like, they stopped surveilling her while they got their warrant written up, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because all you have to do is make a phone call and be like, can you write up a warrant for me so I can keep eyes on this person who just said that she killed some guy?
Yeah.
I do feel like they're on TV all the time, especially from like 90s, 80s. It's like that's always the thing that they don't quite have the warrant and it takes hours or a day to get. And then
Well,
they
you have to
lose the
find a
person.
judge. You have to find
So
a judge
annoying.
to sign the warrant. That's 100%. But you yourself, I don't think
Yeah, like they didn't have to leave
they didn't
her.
have to leave her. Or they could have been like, hey, Bobby, the rookie, follow that woman.
Right.
She's a fucking
Anyone.
murderer.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hey, anybody. Hey, girl who was just wired.
I was going to say,
Keep
they
eyes
knew
on
where she
your
was
friends.
because they
Sure.
had the wire friend.
Yes, like it's so odd to me. And I know that I know it's definitely some sort of legal bullshit that I do not understand, but it doesn't make any sense.
It's crazy.
So in the time that Anne talks to her friend and is like, hey, bitch, I killed Charlie, what up? She disappears. She's fucking gone. And then it turns out that Garey Goff left like 3 days before that. He was already gone. His car was found in Arizona. And the couple has not been seen since. Stack then tells us that the police are still divided on whether or not the shooting was self-defense or murder. And I was like, let me guess which true fucking genius still thinks it's self-defense. Patrolman Derp. He's like, derp, 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 self-defense. Goodbye. You're the worst. And then, thank you, like this other guy, Jack Davis, is like, oh, for fuck's sake, it is obviously not self-defense. Like, self-defense doesn't require an iron, 2 guns, and 7 fucking bullets.
Seriously, thank goodness for him.
Yeah.
Although it's so obvious.
I know. He's like, we're going to find these people and we're going to fucking arrest them. So the show update is that Garey Goff turned himself into Pemiscot County, which is Jack Davis's office. So I'm sure Jack Davis was like, what up, derp, derp, like later. He pled guilty to 2nd-degree murder, which, and we'll get to this, is interesting because he didn't have to do that.
Right.
Because if he was going in front of a jury of his peers, we've seen his peers, a couple of them, I'm willing to bet that they would have let a former police officer off in self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this doesn't seem like the type of town that really, like, hates cops.
Right. Exactly.
You know? And this is 86 when people still trusted all police officers everywhere and
Right,
all of
yeah.
the time. So it's interesting to me that he came in and pled 2nd degree unless he did something that he didn't want anybody else looking into.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, you got me. Here I am. And don't worry about Anne. She's just out there somewhere. I mean, I hope she turns herself in too.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, it doesn't shake out. It doesn't make any sense. Ann Sigmin, as of the show update, has not been located. So let's find that witchy, goathead loving, negligee wearing, child abandoning temptress.
So many hyphens.
Just one single word. Hashtag whatever the fuck I just said. Anne was never found. There's a bunch of theories out there, and now this is where we jump into everyone's favorite part of our episodes, the comment section. Charlie Sigmin wasn't the good old boy. They said that he had been in a lot of different relationships and that maybe he had been an abusive partner. So maybe he did have, you know, they did mention that he was drinking a lot after she left.
Right.
So maybe Charlie was, you know, maybe he just wasn't the true God-fearing sweetheart that they make him out to be.
Yeah.
Garey Goff maybe killed her. I don't know. You know, as soon as he saw the segment, he turned himself in, took all the blame. And initially he thought he was taking the fall for Anne, but it's been over 30 years and she hasn't appeared anywhere. Yeah. There are reports that Anne may be in Arizona or Oregon living in a... I can't even say this. This is so stupid. One of the reports is that, and it's not a report. I love it. Like they use words like
is a report.
It's not a report.
No.
It's some nameless anonymous person being like, she's passing as a Native American, which is really insulting in a myriad of ways. But if you know, it's like this woman had long dark hair and great cheekbones.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like you could pass for a Native American
Sure.
based on what these people are saying.
yeah.
If that's how she's doing it.
She looked more like a Long Island housewife. I literally said to my husband, "Oh, isn't that your mom's best friend from childhood?"
Like I seriously thought
right?
of her
Didn't you
too.
get my mother-in-law
Yes.
vibes from her?
Yes.
Flowy, dark-haired, like mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so fucking just like a little gross and racist.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
like don't do that.
Yeah.
There are some theories out there that she's living with First Nations people, which I do not believe. And then in 2011, and the timeline goes back and forth. There is no timeline now. Time is relative. There is just the internet and commenting. Tressa, a person, presumably, wrote, she was not represented properly in the Unsolved Mystery episode. She did not worship the devil, and they left out the fact that Charlie beat the hell out of her often. And that's what he was attempting to do the day Garey shot him. We have only heard from Aunt Ann once since she left, and it was within a short time after leaving. Garey did all of the calling after that. That is such a fucking red flag.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's scary.
She's not there.
No.
She's gone.
Not there.
If your aunt can't come to the phone and her weird boyfriend is talking for her, like, no, she's gone. This person says we feel he killed her, so she couldn't testify against him. And we've been told that that was the second man he has killed because he used to be some type of lawman himself. They need to start checking a match with all those Jane Does. Okay, so this is the sweet spot. Okay, once upon a time, there was a website, and it was called Topics with an X.
Ooh.
Sassy. Topics is a website that billed itself as an entertainment site, but then I think eventually just devolved into the ability to anonymously talk shit about people that lived in your town that you didn't like. So you could sign in under anything and be like, that person's a pedophile.
Yikes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And my partner and I were talking about it yesterday, and he's like, well, that's just called the internet. But I think that this website, for some reason, hit small towns, like small town white America.
Wow.
And those people were like, you just can't say what you want on the internet. You can't do that. And everyone else was like, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But Topics was taken down very recently, which breaks my poor non-Topics knowing heart because, oh God, I would have just read, a month.
So much
you would have been
entertainment
looking up all
lost.
kinds
I would have been looking
of
up
cases.
the weirdest shit. Someone claiming to be Garey Goff. So there are a lot of Ann Sigmin forums. Not a lot. I mean, there's 6 though, which I think is
Yeah, that's a lot.
that's
I
a
would
lot.
say.
And like one of them had 45 comments.
Wow.
Which like people are talking about this.
Yeah.
People are still wondering what the fuck is going on.
Yep.
Someone claiming to be Garey Goff posted on a Topics thread.
Ugh.
Uh-huh.
No.
And this was just last year. So I think Topics. Oh God, it closed so recently. Oh my God.
But you found these in a certain way. You
Yes.
got around to the archives or something.
Yes. Here's the thing, honeys. Everything you've ever done on the internet is findable.
Still exists on the internet somewhere.
So we might still be able to find topics slightly, but no new posts will be allowed.
Oh,
on
I can give
Topics.
us about 9,000 pages of topics.
Oh.
But it's just not as much fun if you can't read all of the comments.
Right.
But, I mean, I can search and see if you're on there, girl, you know?
Look it up.
I can't imagine what your gossip would
No.
be. Okay, so a year ago, Garey Goff posted on a topics thread that was pretty random because nobody was talking about him. They were just talking about Ann. Garey says, Ann is doing fine. Oh, I was going to do a Southern accent. That is that, what's racist for Southern?
Wait, where were they from again?
Missouri.
Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Missouri.
Well, both.
Oh.
Garey lives in Missouri. The family lived in Arkansas, Missouri. Now they're in Georgia, Florida, Indiana. This is Garey's comment, and I'm not going to read it in a Southern accent.
Okay.
Okay. Ann is doing fine near here. Just leave her alone. She cut herself a very good deal. No one has ever spent much time looking for her. I spent 15 years in 12 in prison.
Oh.
I paid for Charles. Hold on, honeys. It's so good. As I held Charlie's head in my hand, the last words he spoke was, Garey, I'm not mad at you.
Oh. No.
If there had been a trial, it would have been a 3-ring circus. If Ann had come back, we both would have walked. If Ann came back now, Pemiscot County would be America's newest comic strip. I've made 3 tapes in the last year, the show coming on A&E. Ann never loved anyone all the time. She did the best she could. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it. I also have to say that he's using you, like the letter you.
Oh,
Like he's
course
using
he
like
is.
Twitter language.
Oh,
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be fun. Okay. So this person is claiming to be Garey Goff. I believe it's Garey Goff
Me too.
because
He's a narcissistic asshole
And
who's
what-
not making any sense.
And
And
he
what
can't-
reason would there be for anyone to just pretend to do
Seriously.
this?
and he can't stop commenting, honeys. He just can't stop, won't stop. Like,
Yuck.
okay, so let's talk about what Goff is trying to tell us. A, Ann came back. She's living nearby, which is super doubtful. That would mean that she hasn't tried to contact her children in over 30 years. She cut a deal. Also doubtful. It would be public record unless she went into WITSEC. There's no reason for her to go into hiding.
No.
There's no one to be afraid of. Like, it was self-defense. If it was self-defense, she would have walked.
And the government or police wouldn't have paid for that or whatever.
Yes, like, it's just... exactly.
Like no one. They don't put people into WITSEC that should be in it. So.
Exactly. They're like, you're on your own. Thanks for testifying. Bye.
Correct.
I've seen SVU. I know what happens. He says no one has spent much time looking for her. False, because I remember a television segment about her on a show called Unsolved Mysteries. Oh, and another one called America's Most Wanted.
So preposterous.
Yeah.
So cutting. That's so rude.
And her family is looking for her
Yeah.
actively.
Yes.
To this day.
Still.
Yes. I have to mention that as Charlie died and Goff cradled his head in his arms, Charlie said, it's not your fault. But that's so stupid and unbelievable that I'm going to move on to my next bullet point. He says if there were a trial, it would have been a 3-ring circus. But then he immediately says if Ann would have come back, they both would have walked. So why wouldn't she come back? Because she's probably dead. If she came back, which he said that she's nearby, so she is back. I mean,
yeah, she is back.
She's
He's
back.
saying 2
And
different
you're
things all the
just
time.
not telling anyone where she is.
if Ann came back, she would be America's new comic strip. I don't even know what that means.
Like a household thing? Like,
Then wouldn't you be like, if Ann came back, she'd be in the papers?
oh, the
Not-
funny papers? Is that
yeah,
what
I think he's talking about like fucking
An actual comic
Garfield
strip.
or like
I know, but you know, I'm
Dagwood
saying where
or
it's
whatever.
like, see you in the funny papers. You know how people say that?
yeah, but I don't.
But that doesn't
None of it
match
makes
with
sense.
this.
None of it
no,
makes sense.
I don't think.
No, why do we even try?
I don't know. We're trying too hard. He made a bunch of tapes for A&E. He didn't.
Also,
for
what does that
A&E.
mean? I made tapes. Does
I
he
think
want
he
them
was-
to make a documentary like the Jinx?
Yes. He wants them to make a documentary so that he can say that he didn't do it, basically. I think is what he's implying. He says she never loved anyone fully, which is a super shitty fucking thing to say because
Yep.
it's basically implying that, like, she probably didn't like you that much anyway. So I don't even know why you guys are still talking about her.
Yep.
And he wraps up with, be careful what you wish for. Which I think it's fine to wish for someone to come back that's been missing for 30 years.
What a nightmare. What
I
an
know,
asshole.
I know. So here's the saddest thing, and here's what I really think that this segment should be about. The show scandalized this woman They slut-shamed her. They did everything they possibly could because it was satanic panic and it was fucking sexy. But the long and short of it is this woman's been gone for over 30 years. These are the two saddest things I saw. The first was her sister Vicky directly replying to Garey Goff's comment about how she was close by. She writes, "It is really hard to read the stuff that all of you are putting out there. I can't believe Ann would have stayed gone for 27 years. This is written in 2008. I can't believe that Ann would have stayed away for 27 years and not got in touch with any of her family. If Ann is alive, please tell her that her sisters love her no matter what. We have lost both our parents and 2 brothers. But if she is alive, I can't wait for the day to throw my arms around her and tell her that no matter what, we are family."
Wow, she's like, if there's any little tidbit of truth to what you're saying, please.
Yeah. Like
She's
she
like,
doesn't
half
wanna
my
believe
family's-
this asshole, but
Half my family's dead. So I guess I only have to believe, you're the only person I have to believe.
yeah.
So sad.
It's horrible. And then Ann's son, she had 2 sons. They each had different fathers. One of her sons, the elder son, his name's Anthony, but he was dragged into the topics debate, and he commented in 2008, "Somebody knows something and they need to speak up. We are all adults. What she did to Charlie was wrong in all ways. She also left behind 2 very good boys that are all grown up and want some answers. We are both married and have families. I don't have much to say about this whole thing. Anybody has something to say, please reply."
Oh.
And then there were a litany of messages from people who were like, "I'm your cousin, I'm your aunt." Like the woman Vicky, like his aunt, replied to him, "Can you find me on Facebook?"
Oh.
It's like he has this whole side of the family. And because his brother was from a different dad, he has another side of a family. But everybody remembers these 2 little boys.
Yeah.
You don't forget about them.
Yeah.
Like
Your
you wonder
nephews,
what happened to them.
Yeah.
They're your nephews. So like, but imagine.
But yeah, it makes sense that they would not be in contact as much with her family because they probably went to live with their dads.
Exactly,
And their
and
dads
who-
were not married to her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have like all different family now. Like I can, like I found them and everyone has a completely different last name.
Right.
You know, like the Sigmin name only belongs to one person that's still alive.
Yeah.
And that would have been Charlie's side. That wouldn't
That's
even
Charlie's
be
daughter.
Ann's,
Yeah.
Ann's side of the
Exactly.
family. Yeah.
Because Anne it was very difficult to work on this because Anne had 5 different surnames at some point.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he commented 10 years later and he said that he and his brother were fine. I found him on Facebook and he seems very happy. He's got a big family and a lot of kids and all the pictures are super cute. And his brother isn't on there, but his brother's a teacher and has a family of his own. It makes me really happy because while I was watching the segment, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to blame this woman for whatever circumstances she's in, but it's really shitty to drag a kid around. It's shitty to always be in a new school, and it's shitty to always have a new dad, and it's you know. So like, I was just worried that these kids were going to end up in a system, or you know, who knows who would have raised them. So I'm really glad that they ended up okay. Goff can't keep his mouth shut. He keeps popping up and making comments. Up until 2017, he says that he taught Anne how to disappear, which
Yuck.
ew.
I hate him.
I hate him. Yeah, like he's not
I hate him.
he's not James Bond.
He made her disappear.
And he taught her to disappear in 1986. Everything was on paper and you could just print a new birth certificate. Like we're in a post 9/11 United States. And there's an event, like the eventuality is that no one can hide.
No.
You can't stay hidden for 30 years unless you're dead, unless you're
Yeah.
hidden someplace where someone hid you.
Yeah. Just the narcissism level of this
The
guy is
audacity
insane.
and like the inability to shut the fuck
Yeah, that's
up.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
He's like, he likes to tell himself that Charlie said, I forgive you, or
Can
I
you
don't blame you, or
imagine?
whatever.
Most
Like it
ridiculous
isn't
thing.
enough to be like I had to do it in self-defense and I feel terrible about it. It's that he told me it was okay. It's cool.
I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, like
No.
get the fuck out of here. So I mean, that's not a very satisfying update or ending. You know, UM they went for the satanic panic angle and the witchcraft angle and the sexy woman in a negligee, and like there was a better story there.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
could have done a better job
Yeah,
about it.
I
You
agree.
know? And we don't know where Ann is. And I don't think we will. Like it's one of those things that there's not gonna be a deathbed confession if the person who may have done it is still posting on the internet.
Yeah, totally. No.
So, yep, that is the sad tale of Charlie and Ann Sigmin.
Nice job.
Thank y'all.
Season 1, episode 10, segment 2. Oh, we didn't ever even make a big deal about this being episode 10.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Oh, we
you
made
guys.
it 10 eppies.
10 eppies.
10 episodes.
All right. Ready to talk about aliens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Always and forever.
We start our segment with Stack in front of a giant telescope. And he asks us, what if you thought you ran a 5-minute errand to the store, but realized you'd actually been gone 3 hours?
I think he's in front of the LA Observatory.
Yeah, in the telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what
where
that
that
was.
Yeah. It's super cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
And what's more, you have no memory of it all. So, 8:45 p.m., October 1986. A bus pulls up in front of Dutra's Market in North Truro, Cape Cod. One man gets off the bus, and it's 19-year-old Airman First Class Robert Matthews reporting for his first tour of duty. He notices that the area is deserted. He'd been told to phone the base and someone would come pick him up. He says he's in front of Dutra's Market. The officer says to stay there and a truck will come get him in a minute. He says he sees lights moving from left to right across the sky. He gets freaked out, so he calls the base again. The base asks where he's been, and he's like, I'm in front of Dutra's Market. Mm-hmm. We just talked about this. The base is like, we already sent someone out there. And he's like, no, I've been waiting. No one's come by. So the Air Force says that a driver had come by at 8:50 to pick him up, but there was no one in sight. So the pickup would have been 5 minutes after his first phone call. 1 hour later, there's another phone call, but to Matthews, he felt that these phone calls were 4 minutes apart. Matthews is questioned extensively. He's questioned about where he's been, and he keeps saying he didn't go anywhere.
They're really interrogating him. What is the problem?
Mm-hmm. They're the government. They already know what happened.
They're worried about the aliens.
So they're like, what were the lights like? Have you been drinking? And he's like, no, I've just been chilling here waiting for you guys. So then we go to Bud Hopkins, who...
Bud.
I don't know what we're even going to call him.
Alien missing time expert.
Sure.
Nailed
But
it.
actually, he's just an artist when you...
What? I thought he was like some sort of professional person. Not that.
Professional science guy?
Yeah.
He started as an artist?
He is an artist.
He started as an artist.
This is the guy that writes the books, though?
Yes. So, Bud Hopkins, and it's Bud with 2 Ds. It's one of those.
But it did.
Bud Hopkins.
Also, I like that in the age of the internet, people are like, everyone's an expert on everything. But still back then, too, you could be an artist and also be an expert on something you know nothing about.
Absolutely. So he wrote the book Missing Time and Intruders. And he says, we've seen many cases where the person is gone but has no recollection of things. It's like a mini period of amnesia. And y'all know we love amnesia on UM. He says it's not a break and a resumption. Time is remembered as continuous. Hopkins says the loss of time is sometimes in conjunction with a UFO sighting or something like a light, but not always.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for narrowing that down.
Stack says in 1964, Hopkins and several friends witnessed a UFO sighting. He becomes a UFO expert after this.
Oh, that's right.
Don't know what that entails, but...
That's what we're calling him, UFO expert. It's so easy to become one.
Because it's not a thing. Well, it is whatever you say it is, I guess.
Right. So Hopkins gets calls and letters from a lot of people who are experiencing missing time, much like Matthews. He says, I know, right? Like, there's a lot of reasons.
I bet there were so many letters heading to Bud Hopkins. They were probably just delightful.
Yes. Oh, God, I would love to read them. He says through the help of a psychologist who was helping him, he wrote a book about it. He's now written 2 books about missing time. He's investigated more than 200 cases. Matthews had been wrestling with a secret. So the what is he called?
Airman.
Airman that we were talking about originally.
And we said, did you say 66, right? I think you said 86, but this was 66 for Airman Hopkins.
Oh, that would make sense because he goes to Vietnam later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
66. Yeah.
Okay. So Matthews had been wrestling with a secret. As a child of 5 or 6, he walked into his bedroom and he saw a small figure with a green glow to it. He tries to scream, but nothing comes out. He thought he'd lost his hearing or his voice. Everything goes black again, and he's suddenly back in his bed. He says the figure came over and sat down on his bed and pulled up his pajama top. And, quote, I don't know what it did to my chest, but I knew it was doing something to my chest at that time.
That makes me so uncomfortable.
I know, it's very creepy.
Well, it's also like maybe a repressed
Traumatic.
memory
Yeah.
of a traumatic situation, honey.
Oh, God.
So he never thinks of the darkest
I really
path.
don't. I don't know why.
She's like, isn't a green guy rubbing your chest creepy? And I'm like, you know what's creepier? Your fucking uncle doing it.
Oh,
I hope.
yeah.
it's
I
not
mean, I
that.
didn't think that, but he thinks it's a ghost, and he tells his mom it's a ghost, and she's like, "You're just having nightmares." So he begins to doubt his sanity. He says,
At the age of 6?
No.
Oh, honey.
No.
he's getting ready to go on vacation, and I don't know how much later this was, but he sees a book, which is Hopkins' book, and says, "That's the thing that was in my room," of the picture that's on the front of the book, which is like,
Your typical
are you looking at it?
alien.
I mean, it's just like...
Oh, well, no, that one's a different one.
Oh, that's a different typical alien?
That's a different one, but it's the
Similar idea, right?
think of like the alien emoji. It's that exact like
Yeah.
the gray giant head, little black eyes,
Big black eyes.
big black eyes.
Little mouth.
Little mouth.
Little slits for a nose.
Big
Voldemort
cranium.
nose.
Yes. So he's like, "That's the guy I saw."
He was playing with my nips.
Oh my God. So, of course, he reads the book after finding it, and he's happy to find out that other people have similar experiences. Hopkins said he sounded troubled, serious, and very, very stable. So Hopkins is like, he not crazy. Don't worry.
The amount of times in
That
this
they say
segment that
stable.
people say stable, uncrazy.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Normal,
I have all of them written
reasonable.
down.
Yeah.
It also, like, it happens in all of the ghost segments that we've...
Yeah.
It's always, these people are totally stable.
Well,
Like,
even Bud Hopkins says, I never would have thought myself to believe in these
Yes,
things until I
I know, you
experienced
guys are
it
saying everything I'm about to say.
Oh, sorry.
that is a
Let me
tendency
just take
to-
over your segment.
We're gonna take over your segment.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
And Bud Hopkins is a science man, and he believes himself.
He's
This
a
be true.
science man.
After weeks of interviews, Bud Hopkins puts Matthews under hypnosis to explore the details of his childhood experiences. And this reenactment, all the reenactments actually of the hypnosis are hilarious to me because everyone's wrapped up in a blanket like a little burrito.
They look cozy.
And I don't know why that's necessary for the hypnosis, but
Well, I think you want to, like, feel swaddled.
I guess so. Yeah.
I want to feel swaddled.
Oh my God,
We know.
I have a. You're wearing a bear
Yeah.
outfit right now.
You put me under hypnosis anytime, honey.
Loves to be cozy. Bob begins to recall details of when he was young, as well as details from the night outside Dutra's Market. Hopkins speaking to Matthews is so ridiculous because he's completely like setting the scene for him to go
Yes.
back in time.
Yes.
So I don't know. How do you guys feel about hypnosis?
Oh, how I feel about it. When it's a party trick, like when it's on your high school senior trip and your friends get hypnotized.
That's
it's like,
exactly
that
what I
is
was thinking
so
of.
much
Ooh,
bullshit.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you seen those ones where it's like for
Cluck like a
entertainment
chicken.
purposes?
Yeah.
Yes, and they make you do silly stuff. But some people truly are susceptible, and will do those things.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of hypnosis comes from whether or not you are willing to be hypnotized. If you're into it,
Yes.
you're going to be hypnotized.
And so-
100%.
When it comes to clinical work, I don't trust it.
Yeah.
Because even the doctor doing it, even if they don't claim they have an agenda, they have a certain level of bias and they're going to direct you in that way, and you're really susceptible. So
Yeah.
I think that
mean,
that's
it's
how
even
a
like-
lot of the like nursery school satanic insanity in California, like
Yes,
Oh,
or
yeah.
even I thought of false confessions.
yes,
Right.
Where they lull you
Yes,
into
or
a
they
sense of
slowly,
security.
like, keep repeating things to you until
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and hypnosis isn't like, it isn't someone with a watch, like, keep your eye on that, you know?
No.
It's really...
They're like talking to you in a
weird.
soothing voice. And
Yeah.
So Hopkins says that even the AMA believes that hypnosis is a proper method for retrieving lost memories.
Not anymore.
Nope. Hopkins says that Matthews is a good case because there's a witness to verify that he had been missing during a missing time period. So that's very important.
A guy
because
went to
of the
pick him up in a
truck?
van and he wasn't there. How long did he stay?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
He literally, you hear, like, in the reenactment, he's like, hey, you, are you here?
And then he drives away.
And then he
Yeah,
drives
yeah.
away.
No,
Like,
he doesn't get
he
out.
did
He
not
doesn't
do
look in the
any
building.
heavy searching.
No. His memories were so detailed that they thought they could go to the house and reconstruct what happened outside Dutra's. He says he observed 2 to 3 lights moving in a sideways direction. One came straight at him, and it got there so quick, he says if he'd have blinked, he would have missed it. He says he sees something in the parking lot. There's a little crack of light, and then a ramp opens down. He walks up the ramp and looks inside. There are 4 beings on the left and 2 sitting on the right. It reminds him of a doctor's office because it looks clinical and clean. He sits down and realizes his shoes and shirt are off. They examine his chest, and the 2 of them...
Like when he was a kid.
Yeah. The 2 of them, it's like they have a discussion with each other, is what he says. Hopkins says it's the best theory so far for disappearing people. They're taken into...
That's the best theory so far.
Yeah. They're taken into a landed UFO.
What the fuck?
A UFO that's on the ground. Put on a table, clothes removed. They have no will or ability to resist. They're physically examined, etc. Hopkins says a lot of people have very similar accounts to this. The way they were examined, the order things happen in. He says a lot of accounts say that samples were taken from them.
Like in their
Skin cells. Nobody actually mentioned probing in this whole episode, which is interesting.
What?
But
it.
they took,
There was probing. Come on.
there had to be probing.
I mean,
It's aliens.
yeah. They love butts.
They do.
I love butt stuff.
They love
Skin
butt play.
cells, blood, sperm, and ova are the things that he
Don't
mentioned.
ever say ova again.
I know, I don't like it. Okay. The descriptions of about 85% are similar to this. Small, slender figures, 3 to 5 foot tall, gray, large heads with very black, dark eyes. So, as we mentioned, the classic alien. I know it's making you tired. I'm sorry.
No, it's not making us tired. It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I just want to hear about an alien that doesn't look like that.
It's also it's just a really interesting 60s and 70s and 80s trope of the
how come-
alien thing, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind is
absolutely.
late 70s. Like, but why are all these people I don't believe in it, but I do wonder about things like this where why do all these people have these similar experiences? Like, it's the same thing with ghosts and all of that. I don't get...
It's
that's
the power of suggestion.
And that's the only reason anyone talks about this, because multiple people tell the same accounts of things.
Yeah.
And Hopkins says, I'm the first one to realize how outrageous this all is.
Oh my God. Calm down, Hopkins.
But are you though, Hopkins? Because you wrote 2 books about aliens.
He's like, now here's the thing. I don't believe any of this.
He's like,
but-
I'm the first one to realize how much money I can make off of this.
Yeah.
Yes. And I said, so this is a classic case of I don't believe anyone else's alien story, but I believe my own. So then UM shows multiple ladies who this has happened to in this support group, and all of them are like, no, I don't believe in aliens though, but like I was fondled by aliens. Like all of them are pretty much saying the same thing that we've seen in like all the ghost segments.
Oh my God.
So there's one lady,
women.
Christina Florence, giant headband, you know who I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yeah.
Oh, the choreographer from New York City?
Yes. She's like, I'm not saying I was abducted by aliens, but I have no idea what the fuck that was. Christina Florence says, some people came and did some things to me, but where did they come from? I don't know. So Christina never goes into detail. Then there's Susan Fox, and she's the clinical psychologist that works with Hopkins. And she says she's worked with about 11 abductees, and she'd say 7 of them seem to be valid in terms of material they present.
Oh my God. I love that line so much because it's such shade.
I missed
Because
that.
imagine being one of her clients and being
yeah.
am I one of the fucking 7 or am I one of the 4? What the fuck?
She's like 65% of them
She's
are
like
accurate.
somewhat crazy.
She's like,
but
some
not.
are crazy and some are legit, and you just have to figure out who you guys are. I'm a super
so
great
true.
therapist.
I didn't even think about that
Who
because
does
most
that?
of them are in the episode.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
there's a lot
sitting
of them.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they clearly need a lot of attention and love.
Oh my God, yes. So Bud Hopkins hosts these support groups for victims of missing time and alien abduction. Susan Fox says, I was utterly skeptical. I thought it was complete hogwash, hocus pocus, abducted by aliens, except for the fact that there were these patients of mine who I knew to be very trustworthy, very honest, very uncrazy people.
Uncrazy.
Is that a technical term?
Uncrazy.
Is that something that our therapist would say?
She's like, I carefully
Uncrazy?
hand-selected uncrazies. The one lady says she's had 10 different experiences.
That she knows of. There could be more.
I'm like, you're aching for it then.
I expected everyone to be like, no, it was just the once. Like, it was so weird. But she's like, 10 times this happened to me.
Yeah.
She's like, every other Tuesday. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
I know. I thought that was an excessive amount.
Ridiculous.
It's a bit much.
So-
Also, like if you're in group therapy, there's always someone whose story has to be bigger than yours.
Yes. Oh, she's that girl.
Yeah.
For sure. Stack suggests it could be the product of some kind of mass hallucination. The people we interviewed sincerely believe that what happened was real. Christina Florence's stories and others like her suggest that some sort of genetic experimentation is being conducted on the victims of missing time. So we all thought the episode was over at this point.
Nope.
I mean, the segment was over at this point. But no.
This could have been a 4-segment epi, I want to
Yes.
say.
Seriously, they go into like a whole nother half where it's just Christina Florence and her story. It's crazy.
It is like they spent longer on this segment than some of the ones that are very sad and
Yeah, and
real.
important.
longer than yours, which was like
Yes.
actually the one I was like looking like.
I know.
Mojave Desert, 1974. Christina is 17. They were en route to San Francisco, and they're near Barstow, California, when their car overheats. So they pull over, and it's just her sister, and her mom. So the mom is so weird. She just like immediately hops out of the car. She's like, lock the doors. Do what I'm telling you. And both the girls.
She's like, this is a high alien area.
I know. It's just the side of the road, the middle of the day. There's no one around, which, yes, like, obviously do the safety things, but she's just a little overkill. And then both the daughters are very exasperated by this. And
They're like, Mom.
Mom, huh? And she
They're not
she
having
goes,
it.
yes, please. The girls are like, we're old enough to handle this on our own. And she goes,
Handle what, an alien abduction? What are you talking
sitting in the car?
You're
And she goes,
17. You should be driving the car.
so the mom walks away very briskly.
That poor mom.
And Christina says she didn't even know where she was going.
To get water.
In the Mojave
Well,
Desert,
right, but
though?
she's like, where are you going to get that from?
Oh,
There's
was
no-
her mom an alien?
It's a
Oh,
setup.
God.
Is it the classic switch out?
Christina's like, fuck this, and tries to get out of the car. And her sister's like, Mom said stay in the car.
It's like, shut up, Sharon.
Again, it's not like an unsafe situation, really. So I don't know why this is such a thing. And it was the mom's choice to leave them both in the car. So it's on her.
She's like, roll up the windows, keep the AC off, and just sit here for 3 hours.
Yeah, she's like, can you guys just die here in the desert? So Christina says that her sister gets out of the car and runs around to the back. And then she's like, oh my God, come out here quick. So the next thing Christina knows, they're lying on a blanket in the middle of the park.
Yeah, the next thing we see is
park?
the slowest turnaround I've ever seen of anyone looking at anything.
I have to say that I did not pay attention to this segment.
Oh, we
didn't
have to
enough.
post it. It's
Okay.
the
All
right.
most
We'll
overacting.
post a video of that.
Make a note of that.
It's so good.
Producer. But
There was a
I
park
didn't pay
nearby.
attention.
But basically, the next thing they know, they're just suddenly both laying on a blanket in the middle of the park as if they've had a little nap.
Cozy.
And they don't know why they're there.
I love waking up from a little nap I forgot I took in a different place.
It's so weird.
I call that my 20s.
The mom still wasn't there, and Christina is like, whoa, what happened? And then that's what she literally says. And then the next thing she remembers, the 3 of us are just driving like hell. She never says that they talked about it with each other at all until her sister called her one day and they talked about it a little bit. Also, why would you not immediately talk about it? Why would you not be like telling your mom about it?
I would be running around the car in circles. Like,
Absolutely.
really? I think most of us would.
I'd be asking them both what they recalled from what happened.
Right.
Like, it's so weird. Christina says that her sister knew about Bud Hopkins. So her sister gets her in touch with Bud Hopkins, and Bud says she basically had to like work up the courage to talk to him about it.
I bet.
And Christina says she wasn't interested in UFOs and she didn't really want to talk to Bud.
I just want to dance.
Yeah, she does. She wants to dance.
Aw,
Christina agrees to do the hypnosis, however. Under the hypnosis, which seems to, once again, be Bud just like leading her into this story. Because he's like, and then your car pulled over and then you guys looked around. And like, he's telling her the story.
Yeah. Yes, that's why
Yeah, that's
hypnosis does not work.
Yeah.
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 So under the hypnosis, she recalls that when she got out of the car to where her sister was, there was something above the car. Again, no description of what that was, what it looked like, how they felt about it. She says she was scared, though. So she and her sister run back into the car, and her sister crunches herself up under the dashboard because she's so scared. Christina tries to start the car, but it won't go. And I really want to know if the scenes of her under the hypnosis are actually her under the hypnosis, or if it's a reenactment.
She's reenacting being under the hypnosis.
I think so. I thought that with the guy, too.
Oh, please, yes.
Because she's doing a pretty good job seeming like she's like in
that's
some sort of
because
a trance.
She's an actress.
The next thing she recalls is that she's on a table and there's people around.
Oh.
In the reenactment, she's like in her little blanket burrito. She goes, it's like they're pulling on my leg.
Oh, I do remember that.
Like a burrito.
She's just a little burrito. She says there's a large screen that's paper thin and it's moving around the table but not attached to anything. She can see images of herself, her skull, and her whole body, and it was taking pictures. And she says she's in a huge spherical room covered in dials. There wasn't space. It was just dials. I don't know what that means.
Are you...
She says, she goes, I felt like they put these rubber pants on me with things attached.
yes,
That was
that's right.
amazing. The rubber pants.
With things attached.
Yeah, honey, been there. Okay.
Oh my God.
If you need to blame aliens for that, you do you.
Asked for her sister, and someone was telling her, it's okay. So the aliens speak English. And the dials were spinning. And then that's the last thing she remembers before being back on the grass in the park.
Which, without the rubber
It was
pants.
so nice of the aliens to put them back on a blanket, though.
Yeah.
And
in the
take
middle
the
of
rubber
a
pants
park.
off.
And take those rubber pants off.
Oh my God. So Susan Fox, the psychologist, says Christina Florence is without a doubt absolute, utterly, totally legit.
Oh,
That's her quote.
She says legit?
Yeah.
Whoa.
wow.
She the
She's
first
the
to coin
first.
I thought that was interesting too. She says she's a trustworthy, honest person who I've talked to several times, and she's angry about what's happened to her. She doesn't like what happened to her.
Oh,
So, but she says she's been able to like move on despite all of it.
oh, great.
Dances right through it.
Christina owns a dance studio. She says, I live a perfectly normal life. I go to work every day. I have an apartment and 2 cats, and I'm not crazy.
I thought about that. I was like, I would say the same thing. I have 2 cats and I'm not crazy, okay?
It's not a crazy amount of cats. It's a normal
Also,
amount.
having levels of cats isn't an argument for being not
No,
crazy.
it's exactly.
Yeah.
The more
no.
cats you have, the more
I think
crazy
if
you
like,
are.
If you have to qualify your cat amount while you're describing how sane you are,
So she's like, I don't know what it is. I could be having a dream and everyone else is having the same dream, but I'm not lying and I'm not crazy. So I do appreciate that she's like,
Yeah.
maybe it's not
Yeah,
a real
me
thing
too.
that happened, but why is other people seeing the same thing happening? So Stack wraps it up with the main question is like, why? Why would this be happening to
Stack's
people?
like, why, God, why?
Why
Yeah.
am I here at the LA Observatory?
Probably.
Talking about
I had
this.
such an illustrious career before this.
Oh God, yes, this is what it's come to. But Bud Hopkins' theory is that it seems to be a reproductive thing. So
Oh, yeah.
he says the interest seems to have to do with taking sperm and ova samples, and the whole central focus of the physical part of it seems to do with an ongoing genetic experiment. And these abductees are, let's say, involuntary victims or specimen in the ongoing genetic experience.
So we might have little half alien, half human.
Be PC about this.
That's literally, some of his books say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he's saying, is that they're trying to create alien humans.
Yeah, like he thinks they were having problems reproducing, so they...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now you're in.
Oh, I thought you were saying that he's saying that there's half alien, half human.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but on this planet, I don't care.
Oh, no, not on this planet.
No, they take
no,
them.
no,
They
no,
take
no,
them away,
no,
and that's
no,
where
no.
you miss your time.
No.
Okay.
And they don't give the babies back to us.
No.
Once
They
the
keep
babies
them.
are born.
They keep the half
Why would they
seeds.
want half of us, though?
They can't
'Cause
reproduce.
they're
They're
having
having
a hard time
trouble. They
reproducing.
need
Oh
that.
my god, the galaxy's
They need
infinite. Like,
Alison.
they could pick so many other
They
people.
need your ova.
They don't.
Okay?
Oh my god.
Then Christina goes on to explain that a lot of the people
that's
in the
right.
support group have had false pregnancies, miscarriages, abortions where nothing was found. So they've all had like weird reproductive issues. Ugh, okay.
You know it's
Ooh,
good when
this
we have
feels
to
good.
ug our way through the segment.
Basically, okay. I'm gonna
Oh, this is
surmise
turning
a little
into
bit.
sports
Do we
balls.
hate this?
Do we hate this podcast?
We do hate this.
we hate
Basically,
this podcast?
Hopkins is like, the weight of evidence is so much, it's not possible for us to not believe this is happening.
That is just a fallacy. There is no evidence.
He says.
Especially if you're the one planting it all in these people's memories.
Yes.
He's like, there's so much evidence I'm putting in their brains, you guys.
You have to
get it
believe
wrong?
it.
So Hopkins says if the scientists were doing what they're supposed to be doing, they should be doing this, and it shouldn't be left to people like myself.
Ew. Scientists are like, fuck you. We're trying to cure cancer.
That's literally what I wrote. So fuck scientists. Can you please press pause on researching cancer and stuff and give a serious look at people who lost track of time and were told they had weird memories?
Bud is tired of doing it himself.
Oh my God.
Like, why does all of this fall on me, the artist, Bud?
Okay, so Stack wraps it up with
Stack wraps it up by just like walking away. He's like, you know what? We're done right now with this.
he just sets the telescope on fire. He's like, bye.
He like burns the observatory down to the ground.
My God. No, but he says abductions by aliens seem outrageous, yet those who have experienced missing time episodes believe this is exactly what happened to them. Of course, there's no proof either way. Until there is, even the most skeptical among us must admit there is a slim possibility that those unbelievable events...
That's an overstatement.
Funny.
Okay. Oh my God.
What's your update though, girl?
My update is... Okay.
You do have an update?
First of all, I wanted to say that Hopkins, he was not ever trained in hypnotherapy whatsoever. He just like observed others doing it for a few years and then started like making up his own way to do it.
Good.
Yeah, and then he found a bunch of people who had gone through a ton of trauma.
Yep.
And
great.
that's
And
me is
implanted
the
memories.
shittiest part.
Yes.
That's where it stops being funny and it starts being like,
that's not
this is
good.
fucked. Not not cool.
So much of the phenomena can, according to researchers such as Ronald K. Siegel of the University of California, Los Angeles, be explained as the consequence of normal hallucinatory powers of the brain. And when I was watching this episode, I really thought about sleep paralysis, like when Matthews was
Right.
going off about his little alien story.
Right.
That's one of the reasons.
And that's a huge thing that they say is like, you can have all kinds of weird feelings of like being paralyzed, having like out of body experiences, feeling like you're floating, smelling weird things. So many things can happen to you during sleep paralysis that a lot of people are like, but Hopkins, of course, rejects that idea, calling it the big explanation du jour and an inadequate explanation of those who experience abductions outside the bedroom. So basically, yeah, people are just like, he led these people to believe things by telling them that they were experiencing these things during hypnosis.
Yeah. And this was 86 when like hypnosis was heralded as like, this is how we can get to the bottom of what your issue is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Robert A. Baker, University of Kentucky, whose scientific inquiries into the subject revealed that hypnosis can transform a dream, a hallucination, or a fantasy into a seemingly real event.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, he's creating false memories.
Also, there's like another thing called hysterical amnesia where something really traumatic can happen to you. Like, I don't know, you're in your bedroom and someone sits on the edge of your bed and starts rubbing your chest, and you create a story to go along with that to block what really happened.
Right.
A lot of people who have been through trauma, in fact, actually can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah. That's the thing about trauma.
I'm not even going to go into like anything else that I have here.
Goodbye.
So that was Karlin giving up.
You heard it here first.
Welcome to the first episode of 2019 where we all just give up.
We just give up. But I can agree that it's very weird that people see the same thing. That drawing is done by Christina. That's what I wanted to say about that one.
Oh, we'll post it.
Oh, cute.
Special.
That's who Christina saw.
I wonder if he's in like a leotard. He's like dancing.
He's a ballerina.
I think they're usually naked.
I think he was on Chorus Line in like 89.
He's a ballerina. A ballerina alien.
Nice try.
A
We'll
ballerina alien. Why? Why do you have to cut everything I say?
He's a alien.
No, I usually cut things Karlin says. And I say. I cut everything I say.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sorry I
say
don't have a
butt
better
stuff.
wrap up than that. but-
Oh, yeah, we're really mad at you and so
Oh,
surprised.
Karlin, I wish you would go on for another hour about all of the things
No,
that people believe
I didn't
and
even
don't
have
believe.
like a good way to wrap
Can't believe we
it
didn't
up.
solve it.
No, you giving up inside,
perfect.
outside, in front of us was just like the best way to nail that. Good job, Karlin.
Great. I hope none of us experience missing time. If you feel like you've ever experienced it, let us
Oh,
know.
but that is
Listeners.
Don't let us know. Don't let us know.
That is one thing I'll say is that I went to, I think it was on unsolved.com, and there were millions of comments from people who had weird missing time stories. And none of them were like, it was an alien, but they were all like, this really weird thing happened to me.
That's kind of interesting.
Like multiple different ones, which was interesting to read through. I'm probably going to read more of them, but yeah, I don't know. It's
well,
weird.
we should link to that.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye, aliens.
So the third segment in this episode is a missing persons segment, and it's about a man named Rogist Kane. It's like Roger, but ST at the end instead of an R. Rogist.
Rogist.
I just don't know how well you can hear me saying it.
It's such
Rogist.
an interesting name.
So we will post pictures, of course, but we're looking at a picture of him right now. He just has the biggest infectious smile. He looks so delightful. And his son, Lynn Kane, is featured. He's one of the family members featured in this episode. And right off the bat, he describes his father as a very caring and loving man, one who would take his children to Disneyland, Dodger games, Long Beach, and other places where they could spend time together. Rogist wanted to create a better life for his 7 children. And so in 1958, he moved from Mississippi to Los Angeles. They make it sound like he did that with his 7 children, but I know for a fact that not all of them were born. Some of them might have been at that time, but Lynn was not. Lynn is younger than that. So he was a widower. I couldn't find any information about when or how his wife died.
Okay, yeah, they didn't mention that in the...
Yeah.
So all the children came from the mom and she died?
It
think
seems
so.
like they're all the same. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, that's so sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
So in Los Angeles, he worked for the Department of Parks and Recreation and was devoted to both his job and his children.
Aww.
So we'll get into the day he disappeared. On the afternoon of February 19th, 1986, Rogist Kane left his home, telling his sister that he was going to a hardware store. That was the last time any of his family members would see or talk to him. However, this case, which I'll get into, is so frustrating because he did not disappear without a trace like some people do, where
Right.
you just never find any of their things again.
Yeah.
And there are actually several points where it seems like the family is really close to getting him back, and then he slips away. The day after his disappearance, Rogist phoned a neighbor and told her he wasn't feeling well and would not be coming to work. I also saw reports that it wasn't the day after his disappearance that he made that phone call, but it was the day of. So the day of would make a little bit more sense to me, because his family would have been worried if he hadn't come home
Right,
one
and
night.
very weird to call his neighbor, not his family.
Yeah. So this worried his sister, no matter what day it was. It worried his sister, Teresa Warner, who I think is the one who he had said he was going to the hardware store. And she didn't say this, but I'm thinking like like Karlin said, why would he call the neighbor? Why had he not come home? Why would he call the neighbor and not call his family? And we'll get into the reasons maybe why. So at this point, she called the police to report him missing, and then also started calling around to hospitals and different places where he might be. At this point, Rajist was described as a 62-year-old African-American male with black hair, brown eyes. He was 5'7" and 165 pounds. So 2 days later, a private security company in an affluent neighborhood spotted a man who they believed to be Rajist. The man appeared confused and gave the officers a phone number that belonged to his sister, Teresa. However, when Teresa came to pick up her brother, he again had disappeared, which, like, why did the officer...
fucking Copperfield? Like, what's happening?
Yes.
Well, and also, why would the officer not stay with an oldish man who's confused?
And who is
black.
reported as missing.
Yes.
In a white, affluent neighborhood?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, that's definitely how he was spotted in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I bet it was spotted.
It's crazy. So that's one point where the family thinks, oh, we found him, and then he somehow disappears again. Why is no one helping him? So 1 month later, Raj's car is found parked on a busy street 22 miles from his home. And sadly, all of his papers, his GI Bill, the deed to his property, his insurance policies, his glasses, and his false teeth are all left in the car. There were also, this is one of the saddest things, there were also pieces of paper that had one of his daughter's phone number written several times.
Yeah.
And
that.
his family believes that he was trying to remember the number. So at the gas station next to his abandoned car, authorities learned that Rajist had talked to a mechanic on the day after he disappeared. So like a month prior to the car being found, and I guess the car had just been sitting there. The mechanic said that he had repaired parts of Rajist's car, and Rajist paid him in cash. The mechanic said that Rajist was slurring his speech and walking oddly, and he last saw him walking down the street away from the gas station while he was getting ready to fix his car. So if it's not sad enough, here's where my heart really broke reading about this and then watching this segment. Based on descriptions of him by people who had seen him after his disappearance and the things left in his car, authorities and Rajist's family believe that he may have had a stroke, perhaps around the time he called that neighbor to say he wasn't feeling well. Mm-hmm. And so maybe he was suffering from some memory loss.
But why was all of his stuff in his car?
Yeah. How do you keep losing this person if they don't want to be lost?
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, so I'll keep going, but it really only happens twice with the man they know is Rajist, where he gets lost.
Okay.
One of them's well explained, like it's so annoying, but this officer just didn't keep an eye on him. The officer clearly just like left, and then the sister comes and can't find him. And then this gas station thing, well, he had been missing from the gas station for a month before authorities even talked to the mechanic who had seen him. And then I'll tell. So another weird part is that, so the memory loss thing makes sense to me as far as him writing that number a lot of times too. It's like he's trying to grapple with his memory, and he knows he needs to get back to his family, but he can't like quite do it or get there.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because then authorities discovered that Raj's telephone credit card had been used several times since he was seen by the security company in that nice neighborhood.
Right.
The calls made on Raj's card were traced, and all of them were numbers from help wanted ads in a local newspaper.
Fucking crazy.
So it's believed that when he became lost, Rajist knew he still had enough like wherewithal to know that he needed to find work so that he could get money. And although he was memory impaired, he still realized that he could call around to find work at different places if he found them in the newspaper.
Which is so sad.
It's
like
really
he was like, I somehow need to
sad.
survive, but I can't figure out what's
It's
happening.
like half
to
his
me.
brain is broken.
Yeah.
So at the end of the original segment, authorities and his family are hopeful that he was maybe picked up by law enforcement or a paramedic and transported to a hospital for medical treatment and is under the name of John Doe. Teresa Warner, his sister, says, quote, "I don't give up. I still pray that I'll find him somewhere someday. I just feel it within my heart that he'll be all right." So they hope that he's being taken care of somewhere. However, no evidence has been found to suggest he's still alive 2 years later. So this segment aired 2 years after he had gone missing. So then the show update featured on the episode explains that the day after the original segment broadcast, police received a call from a man in Topeka, Kansas, who claimed he was positive that Rajest Kane was a man he knew in Topeka who went by the name of Elmer Jackson. He described... Now, at first, I was like, this white guy's just like, I know a black guy who looks like that. I mean, I was like concerned that it's like elevated, you know.
Yeah.
But then one of the officers says he described his mannerisms and a scar on his body that was not featured in the episode.
Yeah.
So how would he have known about it? But then, and I don't really believe Elmer Jackson was him. So that's why I say I feel like there's only 2 incidents where
'cause I
actual
was
Rajest
wondering-
Kane slips away. But so this is what we were talking about.
Okay.
Police attempted to locate Elmer Jackson, who had apparently lived in the area about 1.5 years. He was picked up by a truck driver like 1.5 years ago, picked up by a truck driver,
I don't
either
like it.
not knowing or wanting to give his name. So the driver named him Elmer Jackson. So then the driver brought him to Topeka, apparently, and he's been working odd jobs there.
Which doesn't make sense. Like, I can understand if you found this confused man being like, well, I need to call you something, so I'm just going to call you Elmer.
Yes.
But
I'm
you're
going
not
to give you
gonna
my
be like,
last name.
Elmer Robert Jackson. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's... Why?
Also, if you find a confused man, don't just drive him to Topeka.
And then make him
Please
do
take
odd
to a
jobs.
hospital.
Yeah, like take him to a place where there is a clinician who could maybe help him.
Crazy.
That story's bonkers. But
Based
maybe
on
that wasn't
his
him.
person,
Yeah.
and or just like based on how he was described and how hard he worked for his family, I just don't see him being someone who wanted to not be found.
Yeah.
No.
And why would he leave all that stuff in his car? He would need
If he
his
was-
GI
I mean, to
Bill.
me, that's a qualifier for leaving. That's a qualifier for disappearing. Though, is leaving all of that stuff behind. So that was a red flag to me.
But why would he have been writing the daughter's number
Number
down
over and
repeatedly?
over again.
And I, like, if you do want to disappear, why would you leave? I get what you're saying, because then it makes it look like foul play or like a memory thing, but also he would be choosing to make his life a lot harder if he's leaving all of his papers in his car.
Yeah.
He would have to start totally
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, you're right.
He's 62. He's not young. Like, he's
No.
not spry and gonna start a whole new life. He has
Yes.
7 kids that
Not
he
the
loves.
typical age
I don't
of-
know.
Yeah. No,
I don't
you're
know.
right.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I totally thought about that, but it didn't seem like that was something he would do. But who knows? Oh, so Raj's son Lynn, who we talked about at the beginning of this segment, he flew to Topeka to aid in the police search and passed out flyers and talked to different people in the area about his father, hoping to find him. But Elmer Jackson had disappeared and was not seen in the area again. And Rajest Kane, whether or not that was Elmer Jackson, has also never, ever been found. So in 1995, almost 10 years after his disappearance, his family had Rajest Kane declared deceased. And since then, still no sign has ever been seen of him. So I literally basically don't have an update, sorry. But something interesting about this family, Lynn Kane, the son, who's just a true sweetie, and I feel awful for the whole family. He played for the NFL from 1979 to 1985.
Oh my gosh.
And Lynn Kane is Will.i.am's uncle.
What?
Yes, the rapper.
That is weird.
So the rapper from the Black Eyed Peas, Will.i.am, would have been Rajest Kane's like great nephew or whatever.
Weird.
Yeah. So his mother, Will.i.am's mother, Deborah, is Lynn's sister, and she's the only other child. I didn't mention her before, but she's the only other child of Rajest who's on the episode. She just talks about him. Oh, she's seen talking about why would he be writing my sister's number over and over.
Doesn't that mean that Rajest would have been Will.i.am's grandfather?
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Weird.
Yes, that's right.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Yeah, because Deborah is Will.i.am's mother, and Deborah is, yes. Raj's daughter.
That's crazy.
That's so
Isn't
random.
that crazy?
Yeah.
But so what do you think happened? You think he just
Well,
like ended up as a John Doe somewhere? That
so
must have been what
That's
happened.
kind of what I think.
This is my thought, and I wrote a little bit about this, but to me, it's infuriating because I feel like in a lot of these cases we cover and we watch on the show, so much of it would not happen today. It just like wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I don't think he would have gotten away so many times is now we have, at least in Oregon, what's called silver alerts.
Yeah.
Which are, it's like an Amber Alert, but it's where someone, usually an elderly person or someone suffering from a medical or mental or memory disorder are missing.
Yeah.
And so you'll get an alert on your phone. You'll also see it on the freeway of their license plate number and what color they're driving. And it's called a silver alert. And like if they had had that then, you know, if the gas station guy had known, if they knew more about like strokes and how, you know, I don't know, maybe some of them thought he's just drunk or something.
Right.
Like why that officer, I feel like now that security officer would have stayed with him. I don't know. It's just all infuriating.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He's dead now, I'm sure, whether or not it's foul play or not, but I don't know how he was not found.
Yeah.
Also, unfortunately, the John Doe black male ends up somewhere. Someone's not going to work that hard to find out who he is, especially in the 80s and sometimes even now.
No,
So
even
and
now.
the family just did not have the resources to be able to find
You
him.
think about the people that we see here that are talking to themselves on the street and seem completely out of sorts, and like they have families.
Yeah.
You know? They have people that are looking for them.
exactly.
Yep. It's so sad.
It's really so sad. And
yeah,
I
I
thought
don't
for
think
sure I
for-
would find something.
Yeah. I don't think for 1 second he was trying to leave his
I
family.
don't think so either. It's
Now,
so
yeah.
sad. Yeah. But I thought that was interesting. That came up almost right away in my research that Will.i.am is related to the family.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's Rajist Kane.
Well, happy 2019, everyone.
Well, see ya.
I like to really boost you up.
At least it
For the new
sounds
year.
good in this one.
Better be. Better knock on wood, girl. Oh boy.
At least you
Jinxie
can hear
town.
us.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Thanks for listening along. Anyone
Sharesy feelsies.
have any recommendations or sharesy feelsies?
I started watching Schitt's Creek.
Oh, is it so good?
It is so good.
Really? Like
Yes.
from the beginning, it's so
from
good.
the jump. And
Okay.
I didn't want to watch it because I hate the name of the show.
Me too.
Me too.
It's Eugene Levy.
Yes.
And then his son is in it, who is amazing.
His real son?
Yes.
Yeah.
And his real
Oh.
daughter is in it.
Oh.
I love his son.
His son.
Love.
I highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have a quick recommendation.
Okay.
I got off the habit. How would you say that? I stopped doing. I had a habit and I lost
you broke
it.
the habit of.
Well, it's not a bad habit though.
Oh no, you broke a good habit? What's happening?
I just got out of the
fell off
habit.
the wagon.
You fell off the wagon of goodness.
I got out of the habit of listening to This American Life every week. So I went back through my podcasts and I realized I just had a ton of them. And there's one I listened to yesterday. It's all the way back from May. So probably some people have heard it, but it's called, well, definitely some people have heard it. It's only the best podcast ever made.
Yeah, they have like 10 million listeners an episode.
Yeah.
So I think more than some.
They're
But
probably
just a
doing
few.
pretty well.
go ahead.
So it's an episode called The Secret of My Death. It's been from May of this year, but the best segment was Act 1, which is Nadia Bowers, who is a writer. She writes something called Dear Dealer, and she's writing an address to the man who dealt her sister a lethal dose of heroin. And it's like a really long essay letter to him, and it's incredible. It's incredible. And she's writing a memoir. So I think this is an excerpt from it, but I highly recommend it.
I feel like we should end with something.
We are wearing matching T-shirts, and it makes me happy.
I know.
And they say GSK was a grandpa too.
Woo!
Alison had this T-shirt made for us, which is something that I said on the podcast, and I love it.
All right.
You want to sing
Happy
a song?
New Year, everyone! We made it 10 episodes.
Yeah, thank you. We couldn't have done it without you, seriously. Okay, so Again, you can contact us at resolvedmysteriespodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram at re_solvedmysteries, Twitter and Facebook at resolvethepod. Thank you so much for listening. Leave a review if you feel like it. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.